Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is the show where we're going to discuss everything in the tabletop hobby world. I am Wild Chevy. You're looking at my paint desk. And as always, I am joined by my buddy, Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
It's just another week in paradise. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it's always good to be in paradise.
So, well, we're in Utah. I'm not sure I would call Utah paradise, but the weather's been cool, so we'll be okay there. So what you working on there, man?
I am working on my Hawk Islam. I got some galooms. I had 6 extra galooms, and I didn't realize they were there until I went through my stuff. So I'm gonna paint them all up, and I have the Rage Fist Yanasari, and I'm gonna paint them all up. So I'll be working on that while we're talking tonight.
Okay. You using an airbrush or you using the regular little good old fashioned Mark One?
I these were all primed with an airbrush. I did the initial coloring on the tans here with an airbrush. I'm going to go through and do some washing and pick out some colors.
Okay. So if I see anything interesting, I'll stop us and make you talk about what you're doing.
Go right ahead.
So
So what have you done this week in the hobby world?
it's been a busy week. So game wise, I went over to my buddy Darren's. We at the last minute we decided to throw down on some 40K. So it was kind of either go do some 40K with a friend or go play Infinity with strangers. And I'm always looking to spend more time with my buddies. So it was 40K. It was.
Nice.
It was my Tau versus his Blood Angels, and we kind of talked like, oh yeah, let's bring 2,000 points so we can bring some toys, bring some interest, do some different stuff. And so I built my list. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna bring all this stuff, like really non-optimum sort of things, but kind of fun stuff I haven't gotten to try in a while, and not the most uber competitive. And I come in and I look at the table, and he's got his army all set up there, and what do I see? Waves of drop pods with a knife sitting at the end.
Nothing like seeing a list of death.
And I'm like, oh. And he's like, well, we said we were going to bring some new stuff, so I just tried to figure out how to put a knight into my tournament list. All right, I can see where this is going, and yeah, it went about the way I figured it would. The game wrapped up about 7-1 for him.
Did you guys do a Maelstroms?
No, we did one of the regular missions. We rolled it all out. It was just 3 objectives, Dawn of War. So just a pretty vanilla kind of match. So yeah, his pods were landing all over objectives. My fire warriors were dying in droves, and the knight was just going around doing whatever it wanted. So it was not a good game for me.
But did you have fun?
I did. Honestly, that's why I play anymore. I've won enough and I've lost enough. I don't feel like I have anything to prove to people. I just look for a good game. And when you play with Darren, you always have a good time.
Very true. He's a great guy to face across the table.
So, on the hobby side of things, let me see if this works here. Been having a little bit of computer troubles this evening, but we'll see if I can't show you what I've been working on. So, can you see that?
Yes.
So you're looking at piles of either unprimed or badly primed or poorly painted MDF terrain. And it is time to fix that. So I've been having some trouble with my air compressor. I can't get it to seem to hold any kind of pressure over 30 PSI, which is kind of frustrating because I found that going around 35, 40 PSI with a 0.5 needle is actually a really convenient way to to airbrush all this stuff. So I decided I would prime it all just using a straight up rattle can. So did a little bit of research, looked around a little bit, and I picked up a Paint Plus primer. It was nothing fancy. It was just whatever the Lowe's brand was. I think it was like $3.50, $4 for a can. And just sprayed it all up, kind of like this mid-tone gray that you see here. MDF. Have you painted any MDF terrain, Alan?
No, I not yet. I have a whole bunch ready in the queue that I'm going to be working on for a project. And yeah, like you, I've been researching how to do it.
Well, I tried 2 or 3 different things on, like an enamel paint first, because a lot of people said, "Oh, enamel paints don't get soaked up at all." This soaked it right up. Like it didn't handle it any different than an acrylic. I tried a little bit of PVA with water. I tried that, and that didn't really seem to make much of a difference. The only thing it did was fill in like panel lines and details wherever I wanted it to. So I got a Paint Plus primer and it works okay. Like it was still definitely getting absorbed, but it was much less than like than everything else was. So I'm generally happy with that. So I got all that stuff painted up, kind of a mid-tone gray, and I've been adding in the highlights. So that's what I was doing this evening. So you can see I was just taking kind of a white there and putting it up along the edges. Next step will be to kind of hit the bottom layer of it with a little bit of black. So kind of see it here on the buildings. Buildings need another coat of white in a few places. So, and then they'll get shaded with black as well, of course. And then once we've got the pre-shading done, then I'll go ahead and hit it with a wash and give it some color. So at least that's my plan.
Nice. Looks like you're off to a good start.
Yeah, even with my piece of crap broken compressor, it works okay. I have probably about 30, 40 minutes of good spraying and then 20 minutes of frustration. So I'm pretty happy with it. The shadows should go a lot faster than all the highlights, just because black pops a little bit more. So I imagine I should get that done here in the next couple days. And then depending on how I'm moving, maybe we'll even get a little bit of wash on here. So no promises, but it's what I'm shooting for. But I'm really enjoying this airbrushing thing. Like when I can get all my equipment working.
Yeah, that's the struggle at the start is got to get everything fine-tuned, get everything locked in, and then got to make sure all your stuff works.
So, yeah, I mean, at least I got the paints nailed down. That Kratex paint, airbrush paint, I'm really liking that. I think it's great. So, it's not the formulated especially for miniatures, but I think that simply means it's a little cheaper.
And it might be a little more robust too.
Could be, very much could be. Said I think this stuff is polyurethane based, so hopefully, I mean, obviously, I'll still put like a seal coat on top of it, but hopefully, it's a little bit more durable. The one thing I've been playing with is, so the more I've been reading and learning about priming of a model, I've kind of come to the conclusion that you don't need to drench a model in primer. You don't need to have every single little nook and cranny filled. You need to give it, it needs to be fully covered. But if there's a few little places missing, it's kind of okay. Because really the primer is just there not to serve as a base coat, but to make sure that your paint adheres to the model. So I kind of assumed, well, maybe that's the way that the primer should be working with these buildings too. So maybe I don't need to drown the MDF in so much primer that it won't absorb anymore. Maybe I just need to get the primer on there enough that the paint has a good surface to adhere to.
Now,
So,
will you be just doing? Are these going to be looking new, or are they going to be weathered buildings?
I think they're eventually going to get weathered. I want to kind of finish these 3 buildings so I have all 6 done before I move on to the weathering stage. Honestly, last week I showed I had a red building, a blue building, and a green building. I think I'm going to make these all green and turn this into a USAriadna themed table.
Nice.
So, because yeah, I've decided to go commit. USAriadna, you're my guys. I'm investing in you. I have pre-ordered.
Nice.
So I did have to sell. Well, I didn't say I have to, but I opted to sell off a few of the things kicking around in my closet. So I'm a little less encumbered by stuff that I'm not using, and hopefully making way for stuff that I'll use a little more.
Now, I heard you got a cool looking miniature this week too.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Give me a sec here. Let me grab that. So it's probably not quite accurate to say that I got a cool new miniature because I had this miniature before. I'm more like I got this miniature back. So we'll stick with Infinity here. And what I got was Penicillea. So this is for the Steel Phalanx. This was painted by John Salmon.
Now, this is not the bootleg, right? This is the
standard miniature. So this is the regular one. I still have the bootleg, and it's still sitting there half done.
That is looking very nicely.
Yeah, she turned out really well. I kind of just gave John a few general hints, or of what I was looking for. I showed him a little bit of what the rest of the army looked like, and just said, kind of have fun with it. And he's done a nice job. He did flames on the motorcycle. He gave the motorcycle kind of a nice gloss coat, so it's all nice and shiny, like you'd expect a hot rod to look. Penicillea herself looks really, really nice. He's done a great job there. He even did a little bit of freehand tattoo work on her. He gave her a bit of a tramp stamp. I don't know if you could see that. So yeah, it's turned out very nice. He also he built the base pretty much from scratch. This is all plastic card and green stuff. So we were laughing, and he's like, as we're sitting there talking when he handed off, he said, you can, he's like, I'm not attached to this. This is your model. You can do what you like with it. If there's a color that you don't like, you can change that. If it's your model. Don't worry about offending me. And so I laughed. I said, yeah, it's cool. I think I'm probably just gonna put a rattle can on it and just start over. And oh man, he looked like he was about to murder me for a minute, and then he got the joke and started laughing. And he's like, well, it's your model, and you'd be dumb to do it, but I'll let you. So yeah, so she's kind of completing. She was kind of the last piece of the puzzle for my Aleph. And now that I have her, I'm pretty much good to go. I'm ready to start working on my USAriadna when they get in.
Nice.
So yeah, It's actually been a really big week for me for hobby, I suppose. But speaking of USAriadna, Alan, have you been watching the Beast of War videos?
And this has been like one of those weeks that you just gotta love being in the hobby. Uh, Nothing like seeing some behind the scenes stuff about and just some new stuff coming down the line from um, companies like Corvus Belly. These theme weeks sometimes are just stuff you don't want to watch, but they're fun all around. But yeah, this week, I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, you pulled the trigger on USAriadna, and I think I will too. And we've seen people already. If you're a war core, you're lucky enough that you've probably already got your box. But yeah, looks like it's going to be a great box of miniatures and a great sectoral when everybody gets it.
Yeah, we've seen the list of what all is going to be included in the sectoral when it's filled out. So I was wrong. Last week I said there's no way they're putting the axe doctor in there, and we're probably not going to see the artillery. Those are already been claimed by other factions, but I was wrong. They are a part of the sectoral. So, and then there's a few other things like the desperados and the unknown
Unknown Ranger,
soldier,
yeah.
unknown ranger. Yeah. So
But no, that Desperado. I mean, something about him. It's like I can't tell if he's either good or bad or ugly.
yeah, that one's a little on the nose. So, although I did see somebody, they actually put the picture in Photoshop and they changed out kind of the shawl he's wearing and made it like a camo pattern, and it looks much better. So, it it still kind of has that hints towards Clint Eastwood, but it's not over the top.
But that Van Zant. I mean, there's gonna right now there's a limited edition that you can order from Corvus Belly, or you can get it at Gen Con if you're going. But just the Van Zant sculpt looks pretty amazing, and I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, so the sculpt is being updated regardless. They show that during the Beast of War week. It's pretty much the same pose as what the original model is. They've just kind of cleaned it up, but uh, yeah, they basically took that same 3D doll and reposed it a little bit for the Gen Con model, and I think it looks fantastic. I'm not so hot on the axe plus pistol combination, but I was going to order directly from their site, but it was going to come out to be like $35 with shipping and VAT, whatever that is, and to get it out of there. So I might try and have one of my ninjas pick it up for me at Gen Con.
It's always good to have ninjas for large events.
So, but yeah, so they've got some really cool looking stuff coming down the pipes. We got a little bit of information on Acheron Falls. So right now they're predicting 16 new sectoral armies, which will mean if they're fair, every army will get two new sectorals. So some of those we can kind of guess at. Some of those will be new. So like we expect Aleph will get Vedic, Ariadna will get their Kazakhs.
Pakistan will get the Caliphate.
Yep. So maybe like a black hand for the Nomads. Or whatever their last ship is. There's Bakunin, Corregidor, and there's like one other main ship that they haven't covered.
But interestingly, though, Archon Falls is going to be pushed back because of the N3 update for Human Sphere.
Right, and as Carlos told it, I mean, you know me. the way I felt is that the rules for Human Sphere should have been rolled together into the new N3 book just to streamline everything. I think that Corvus Belli felt, and this is just me reading between the lines, Corvus Belli felt that they could get away with Human Sphere the way it was, but towards the end of developing N3, I think they realized how much they had changed and realized that they really weren't going to be able to get away with that. And so even though they had promised that Human Sphere and Paradiso were still going to be effective, and we're seeing now that I think they've probably reconsidered that. So the rules, so for everything that we're seeing in Paradiso, like Toha, will be included in it. The only thing that will not be brought over from the original campaign Paradiso book is the actual campaign. So,
which makes, I mean, that's a good thing because you don't want that whole book invalidated.
That depends on your perspective. You know, for the people who never bought it, it will be nice to have everything consolidated as much as possible. But I can see how they're trying to keep some of their core fans happy. So yeah, it sounds like Akron Falls was probably pushed back maybe 6 months. Again, we're not going to see it this year. We might see it the first half of next year. But that's okay. I think we've all got plenty of stuff to keep us busy right now.
Very true. I mean, like you said, USAriadna. I mean, we saw the new the profiles were released on the Army Builder before it got taken down. And I mean, even just a listing of what you could take, it's going to be, I think this will be a very nice army to play overall. It's got some good stuff in it so that you competitive and still have some fun.
I agree. I think we're going to have it's going to have a lot of interesting options off the box, right out of the box. It's going to be a very fast moving army. It's going to be very forward moving. It's going to be aggressive. You know, I think that its Achilles heel, if it has one, is going to be what all of Ariadna suffers with, and that's going to be technology. So, you know, things like doctors and hackers, forward observers shouldn't be much of a problem. But some of the more advanced stuff is just going to be, you know, what it's missing out on.
Well, you could take the total, what was it? I forget what unit it was. I think it's total availability, MSV1, and you can load them out with forward observer.
Yep.
And they get a light rocket launcher.
Because who doesn't love a light rocket launcher?
Bring some boom boom to your list.
Yep. And, you know, if all else fails, just throw giant wolves at them.
Yeah. Those wolves, they're going to be so pretty to paint.
So, yeah, so I know, so I'm picking it up, Randon's picking it up, you're picking it up. We know a couple other people who are picking it up now too. I think we just need to have a USAriadna like unboxing and assembly night. What do you think, Alan?
I think that'd be fun.
So
get our fingers glued together, talk about America stuff.
America.
And I mean, so that's 3 people picking up the box. But I mean, given how Infinity is, that's 3 different people. But the list won't always be the same because we all have 3 different play styles. So we'll see a lot of variation, you know, with just one sectoral.
Yeah, very true. And I think that with all the different options and core fire teams in your Hari fire teams, there'll be a lot of different options. Me personally, I'm thinking about doing like a biker type list, you know, bikes and wolves. So something
Desperados.
fairly aggressive with. Yeah, we'll see about the Desperados. I imagine them to be, we've seen them. They're basically like USAriadna Kum. So it'll kind of depend. Like if they look cool, I'll go with them. If I'm not hot on them, there's other bikes to be had in this list. So, but that's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. Or maybe just going vanilla and throwing in like some extra anapodes. So you just have giant evil wolves running up the field.
Yeah.
That'll scare people.
Especially with the G Sync for the Devil Dogs.
Yep. So yeah, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of variability to it, and it sounds like Corvus Billy wants to kind of support it right out of the gate. So I won't be surprised if we see in the next couple of months we'll start seeing a couple of boxes to kind of fill everything out. So we'll see like a grunt support pack, like another pack for the Minuteman, some more like a bike pack. Pretty quick. I think they want to capitalize on the heat that they're generating right now.
And I believe I saw somewhere that this release here is probably what we're going to be seeing for major releases in the future for armies.
I think it depends on how it sells, according to Carlos. If all the hype translates into actual sales and they sell a crap ton of these, like they did with Ice Storm, then yes, we'll probably see a few more of these. But if they don't get the kind of traction they want with this and maybe add-on boxes in the future, then maybe not.
It'll be interesting because it's USAriadna, so by proxy, all of us Americans have jumped onto it. But who's to say that'll go well with other armies? Pano pretty much has all their stuff in Ice Storm. It's kind of with the same thing with Nomads, but not a lot of people play Jijing or Hakazlam.
Yeah, and according to some of my little birds, the armies that they're looking at for this are not going to be existing armies. So you're not going to see like a vanilla Pano army box, or you're not going to see a vanilla Eugene army box. These army boxes are going to be for when they come out with new sectorals. So possibly 6 to 9 months time, when we're looking at Acheron Falls and we start having a better understanding of what those sectorals are. Those new sectorals are what is going to be getting army boxes if they decide to go along with it. You're not going to see like a Magister's Knight list. You're not going to see a Kapukalki army box or anything like that. Simply because those armies already exist and the players who have already invested in it aren't going to be interested in a whole army box and buying a lot of the stuff they already have.
Yeah.
So, but that's just what I hear up in the trees. So,
with the little birds, ADI.
The little birds with accents.
I'm looking forward to seeing. This is probably not everything they've got coming down for Gen Con. We probably maybe see some new stuff that they saved up.
Maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is all we see for Gen Con. Because when you think about what we had last year for Gen Con, we had Operation Ice Storm and Peninsula. Do we have anything else?
Trying to think. No, I think those were the two big things.
Yep. And so now we've got kind of the equivalent amount with this army box and the Van Zant model. Plus, I figure that they're still going to be pushing Ice Storm pretty heavily, for a lot of people walking up here.
Yeah, Ice Storm's a great box to get your friends in to the game.
Yeah, hey, look, buy Operation Ice Storm. It's a great starter box. And, also, if you got an extra friend, get this one more army for it. So, So I'll be surprised if we see anything else coming from them for Gen Con. It's always possible. I don't know anything about it, but just logistics wise, I'll be surprised if they bring anything else out.
Well, I mean, there's always the seminar that we'll see hopefully some good stuff from Carlos and the crew.
Carlos has already promised some new, cool, interesting stuff to be shown off.
Just makes me sad I won't be able to see it.
I know. One of these days, man, I gotta get out there.
But so speaking of Infinity, and since I'm painting and all that, did see this week that Angel Heraldez put a number 2 up on his socials and said coming soon. So we might see another painting book from Angel.
Okay, now that is something we might see at Gen Con. Because, I mean, Angel's been doing his books kind of separately from Infinity, but from Corbin's Belly.
If he doesn't have anything new or to sell, he should most likely have in the painting display some new stuff to show off. So
yeah. So, all right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to hit up, or should we leave you back to your little miniatures?
Hey, I mean, if anybody else out there, if you're watching, if you have any comments about USAriadna, let us know, and we'll answer them right here, right now. There's a delay, so you got to let them comment.
I know. You guys take your time typing, make it legible so we can understand it. No amount of time will ever make my typing legible.
Well, since you are practicing your airbrush and you're getting the new box, you should check out Angel's Facebook page. He put up the first tutorial, step by step, on how to do the antipode.
Oh, outstanding! I was looking at that the other day and thinking, I really want to airbrush this, and because I just feel like that'll do a really great job. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. I'll be honest, the Antipode and the Dog Warrior, that's what really sold me. I know they're decisive for some people, but I like them.
That Desperado, looking at the sculpt, I was like, or just the photo. Yeah, we haven't seen the sculpt yet. I mean, that'll be pretty cool to paint up.
Yeah. Check out the Beast of War videos, guys. They showed some concept art also for the Airborne Rangers, which I think look pretty cool. In my opinion, those ones stole the show.
All right, doesn't look like we have any comments coming in. So, anything else, Casey?
That's it for me. Other than I hope everybody has a good evening, have a great week, and their brushes are always in their favor.
And if you have a fantasy army, don't light it on fire.
Oh my god!
Age of Sigmar.
That's the sort of stuff that just gives the rest of us a bad name. Yep. No burning your armies. Just sell them.
Okay. We do have a question. All right. Have you made a list yet for USAriadna? And if you have, what's in it?
No, I have not. Honestly, because for USAriadna, all we've got is the box. So I can tell you kind of what I'm thinking about running. Right now, it's the contents of the box, which, if you price it all out, is taking you to around 150 or so points, 130, 150-ish. What I would like to add into that is a hard case, because he can start off as a camo token. He's got ambush camouflage, which means he'll be able to put down an additional token or additional camo token. I'll be taking, cover your ears, Alan, because you'll probably be playing this at some point. The dismounted biker girl, I'll have her stand in as an extra foxtrot. So she'll start as a camo token as well. Then with the foxtrot that we have there, I'll get to start with 4 camo tokens, and one will just be a decoy. And then also maybe throw Van Zant in there. So I don't really want to pay all the extra points for him, because as my only ranger, or as the only 80 not 80 combat, but as the only jump troop, I'm kind of wasting some of his rules, I feel like. But until we have something else coming along, I'll use him as just a regular jump trooper. So, and that should take me right to around 200 points there. Then beyond that, it's kind of what Beast of War, something similar to what Carlos was running, filling out the Minuteman team, maybe taking some artillery. But I haven't decided beyond 200 points. So I kind of want to see how this army plays at that level and then grow it from there. But honestly, like I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking vanilla. Maybe take this as a vanilla list and go back so I can take like some extra anipodes and a few other different things. Just because I like the idea of a bunch of dogs running around. And I won't play Caledonians because I hate painting plaid.
Yeah, plaid does make everything interesting.
So I heard a little ding. Did we have another question or comment, or?
Let's see. My list. I think I got let's see, a couple of 12s just because they're nice. They're skill, so I'm good. Just running a dozer with the tractor, so I can get some fire support going on. A couple of Mavericks, one forward observer, one boarding shotgun. A squad of Minutemen, one with HMG and the other ones with heavy flamethrower, the 2 flamethrowers. Just a nice little squad to run up the field. Tractor mule with the call reaction. Double dog units. And probably a couple of Marauders, just so I can get that forward observer and the stealth going on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that Mavericks plus Marauders with a link of Minuteman is going to be a very strong and a very popular option. I have no doubt that we're going to see those because I think it's a very good combination. I see a lot of synergy between those units.
Our bad dad's cool. It's that executive order, which I think is funny. that he becomes the LT as soon as he drops on the field.
Maybe somebody can explain this to me, but I do not see how that is a great rule to have. Because the second he walks on, he becomes your lieutenant. And if you're using him as a jump troop, that means that you're deploying him probably fairly forward up the board, which means he's going to be kind of vulnerable. So really, you're just letting your lieutenant hang out there. Now, it just seems like a great way to get your lieutenant shot up.
Now, if he dies, I mean, does your original lieutenant get like chain of command?
I don't believe so. Now, if that was the second half of it, is your current lieutenant loses his lieutenant status and gets chain of command, then yeah, sure, it's great. But I don't think it works.
Executive order just says that he becomes the lieutenant once he enters the board. Mm-hmm. So you mean you need a lieutenant on your list first.
Yeah, but if he's your lieutenant and he gets killed, there's nothing about that says that your old lieutenant becomes lieutenant once he's gone. So it sounds like once he dies, you're in loss of lieutenant, which is nowhere you want to be.
So
I mean, it's not as
it will be interesting.
yeah, it's not as bad as in second edition. I mean, it's still definitely bad, and you don't want to have your lieutenant dead, but it's not as crippling. You can still make things work. But yeah, like that whole executive order. I mean, unless you're trying to screw with people and bring him on without, because you do have a profile without executive order. I guess you can use him that way and try and spoof people. But even then, he's a 30-point model. For Ariadna, that's kind of expensive that you're still, getting shot at. And he's not the most amazingly durable model out there.
And he's got the Billy Badass look, so.
Yeah, models that have that look tend to get shot a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just looking right now at the list builder, the one thing I'm gonna have to get used to is the lower price or for cost on points. Because right now, I mean, I'm at 289 points for special weapon cost, and I'm at 16 orders and 16 orders, 1 irregular order, and 3 extremely impetuous.
Yeah, tell me about it, dude. I play a left. My armory's gonna like triple in size.
So it's always interesting. But yeah. So I mean, look forward to seeing some Aleph here on the painting board here in the future.
Yep.
Not
And if
Aleph.
you got some cool
USAriadna.
Good night, everybody. But yeah, if you guys have some cool ideas for a list that you're thinking about running, feel free to drop it in the comments below if you're watching this after the fact.
Yeah, drop in the armory link, and we'll take a look at it and comment it on it.
So, well, that's all from me tonight, Alan.
I think that's all for myself as well. So I'm going to get back to painting. Casey's probably going to get back to shooting his air compressor. But thank you guys for watching. We love the views. We love the comments. Let us know what you think. Put in the comments down below. Like this video. Share it with your friends. We'll be back next week with another show. Casey, anything else?
Nothing for me. Just as always, if there's an interesting piece of information or a cool new product you'd like us to mention or like us to take a look at, shoot us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. This is the Atomic Salt, and we've just blown your mind.
America.
America.
Good night, folks.